The Young and the Restless. YNR. Spoilers hint that Johnny Abbott, Paxton Mishkind, and Katie Abbott, Sienna Mercury, may turn against their grandpa. Will Victor Newman's Eric Braeden next move against Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, prove too cruel for his grandchildren to handle? Katie and Johnny indeed have scenes coming up, so YNR fans will be eager to see how they fit in the story. Since the Abbott Communications launch party is coming up, Johnny and Katie could easily be on hand to help celebrate Billy and Sally Spectra's Courtney Hope accomplishment. Of course, we can't ignore the fact that Katie and Johnny are getting older, so they're not little kids who can be totally kept in the dark on things anymore. Johnny and Katie are perfectly capable of seeing Victor's twisted behavior in action, so that might be an interesting angle for the show to pursue. Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, doesn't want Katie and Johnny to feel caught between their father and their grandfather's feud. Unfortunately, that may be inevitable since Billy and Victor always end up in another round of conflict. Victor is currently working with Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, on a plot that could once again derail the Abbott Communications launch. The other party never happened, but this one could go off the rails once it's in progress. That's because Victor is hoping to convince Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, to pull the funding before they blow up the news at the launch bash. Even if Victor can't get Jill on board with that plan, he may count on Adam to find some other way to sabotage things. Regardless, Victor intends to target Billy's company as a distraction while he goes after Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Jabbo. Johnny and Katie are Abbotts too, so they may not appreciate any of this once they get updates on Victor's grand scheme. This would be a great opportunity to deliver some family drama and show that Victor can't keep getting away with everything. Victor needs to face some consequences as well every now and then. It'd be a nice start if Katie and Johnny could turn against Victor, so they might stand against his attacks on Billy and even Uncle Jack. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Johnny and Katie have some new material coming up no matter what, so stay tuned. The air in Genoa City is thick with the scent of betrayal, a familiar perfume in a town built on shifting allegiances. But in the hallowed halls of the Abbott and Newman mansions, a new, more devastating kind of warfare is brewing, one that doesn't just target fortunes or corporate empires, but the very heart of family itself. The latest The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest we are on the precipice of a seismic shift, where the youngest members of these warring dynasties are about to become unwitting pawns in a game they cannot possibly understand. At the center of it all, as always, is Victor Newman, a man whose strategic cruelty is matched only by his boundless love for his family, a paradox that is about to tear two families asunder. The question on every fan's mind is a chilling one. Has the mighty Victor Newman finally gone too far? The Abbott orphans, Katie and Johnny's shattered world. To understand the gravity of what's to come, we must first look at the fragile world of Katie and Johnny Abbott. Since the tragic, senseless death of their mother, Delia, and the more recent, brutal murder of their father, Billy Abbott's twin, Chance, these children have been adrift on a sea of grief. Billy and Chelsea's return to Genoa City and their subsequent whirlwind commitment was built on a foundation of providing stability. Billy, haunted by his own demons and the ghost of the brother he couldn't save, saw in this new, instant family a chance at redemption. For Katie and Johnny, Uncle Billy became a lighthouse in a storm, a constant, caring presence who promised to never let them down. Victor Newman, however, has never seen a lighthouse he didn't want to extinguish. Spoilers indicate that Victor's campaign against Billy is set to escalate from corporate sabotage and personal humiliation to something far more insidious: psychological warfare on the most vulnerable of fronts. Victor, the master manipulator, understands that to truly break a man like Billy, you don't just take away his job or his reputation. You dismantle his reason for being. You shatter the love that gives him strength. Through a series of carefully orchestrated events, Victor will begin to poison the well of the children's perception. He won't do it himself, of course. That's far too crude for the mustache. Instead, look for him to utilize his vast network of influence, a whispered word to a social worker, a strategically planted news story, a manipulative conversation overheard by the children, all designed to paint Billy as unstable, unreliable, and unfit for the sacred role of guardian. The turning point, spoilers tease, will be a very public, very dramatic confrontation between Victor and Billy, one that Katie and Johnny will witness. Imagine the scene. Victor, playing the part of the concerned patriarch, calmly and coldly listing Billy's failures, his history of gambling, his impulsivity, his infamous rage podcast that tore the Newman family apart. He will frame it not as an attack, but as a painful truth he must reveal for the children's own good. Billy, reactive and emotionally raw, will likely erupt, his anger playing directly into Victor's hands. To a child, anger is scary. And in that moment, the kind, fun-loving Uncle Billy will be replaced in their eyes by a frightening, volatile stranger. The aftermath will be heartbreaking. Spoilers suggest that a terrified Katie will begin to withdraw, clinging to Chelsea and asking difficult questions about why Grandpa Victor is so angry with Billy. Johnny, older and more perceptive, might internalize his confusion, his behavior shifting at school and at home. The ultimate betrayal will come when one of them, likely prompted by a Victor-influenced therapist or social worker, declares they don't feel safe with Billy anymore. This single sentence will be the wrecking ball that demolishes Billy's world. He fought so hard to build a fortress of love around them, only to have the architect of chaos himself convince them that the walls are a prison. Victor's endgame. Why this is his cruelest masterstroke. To label this move as cruel feels like a profound understatement. This is a transgression that goes beyond the typical Genoa City power play. Victor has stolen wives, ruined businesses, and even faked his own death, but weaponizing children's trauma and manipulating their fragile trust is a descent into a new circle of hell. His motivation, however, is classic Victor. It's a twisted amalgamation of three core beliefs. Protecting his empire. Through Victoria may be currently at odds with her father, but Victor's entire universe revolves around the preservation of Newman Enterprises for his bloodline. Billy Abbott, with his Abbott name and his history of publicly attacking the Newmans, is a contaminant. Victor sees Billy's influence over Chance's children as a long-term threat, an Abbott plant who could one day raise two kids who might have a claim to the Newman fortune or, worse, grow up to oppose it. Eradicating Billy's influence is, in his mind, a strategic necessity, a twisted form of justice. Victor has never forgiven Billy for the Rage podcast, which exposed Victoria's mental health crisis and humiliated the family. In Victor's moral calculus, Billy's suffering is not yet complete. Billy must be stripped of everything. And what is more precious to him now than those children? This is Victor's sentence for crimes he feels were never properly punished. The God complex. At his core, Victor Newman believes he alone knows what is best for everyone in his orbit. He decides who is worthy of love, family, and happiness. In his view, Billy Abbott is unworthy. Therefore, it is Victor's duty, his burden, to correct the cosmic error of Billy finding peace. He is the self-appointed judge, jury, and executioner of Genoa City's soul. Is it too cruel? From any rational, human perspective, absolutely. But for Victor, cruelty is merely the most efficient tool in the box when the ends justify the means. The chilling reality is that in his mind, he's not being cruel, he's being decisive. He's protecting the future by ruthlessly controlling the present. The spoilers for Billy are dark, and they should terrify any fan of the character. Having the children he loves so deeply turned against him will be a wound unlike any other. This isn't a business loss he can bounce back from. This is the destruction of his identity as a protector and a father figure. We can expect to see Billy completely unravel. The progress he's made, the stability he's found with Chelsea, will evaporate overnight. His old demons, the impulsivity, the addictive personality, the bottomless rage, will come roaring back with a vengeance. He will be isolated, lashing out at Chelsea for not defending him more fiercely, and at anyone else who gets in his way. This storyline promises a return of Dark Billy, but a version more dangerous and unhinged than we've ever seen before. This isn't about revenge for a business deal. This is a primal, visceral response to having his heart torn out. He will be single-mindedly focused on destroying Victor Newman, but Victor, the grandmaster of this game, will be 10 steps ahead. Every move Billy makes in his rage will only serve to further validate Victor's narrative that he is unstable and dangerous. The real tragedy is that Victor's prophecy is self-fulfilling. By pushing Billy to the brink, he ensures Billy's breakdown, thereby proving his initial point to the courts, to the children, and to the world. It is a psychological trap of diabolical genius. The ripple effect, a city on the brink. The fallout from this nuclear family event will not be contained. The shockwaves will reverberate through every major relationship in Genoa City. Chelsea's impossible choice. Chelsea Lawson is caught in an impossible vice. She loves Billy, and she has grown to love Katie and Johnny. But she is also a businesswoman whose livelihood is increasingly tied to the Newman empire through her work with Adam and Sally. Will she stand by Billy in a suicidal war against Victor, potentially sacrificing her own career and stability? Or will she be forced to choose the safety of the children, even if it means aligning, however reluctantly, with Victor's narrative? This could spell the end of Billy, a couple many fans have rooted for. Victoria's complicated position. While Victoria and Victor are not on the best of terms, they are her brother's children. Will she stand by and watch her father psychologically dismantle them to win a grudge match? Or will her own maternal instincts kick in, causing a new, even deeper rift with her father? This could be the catalyst that finally turns Victoria permanently against Victor's methods. The Abbott clan rallies. Jack and Diane will be horrified. Tracy will be heartbroken. The Abbott family has always prided itself on its unity and warmth, the antithesis of the Newman dynastic coldness. They will circle the wagons around Billy, but their power is limited against Victor's influence. This will ignite the next great Abbott-Newman war, but this time, the battlefield is a family court and the hearts of two grieving children. Kyle's opportunity. Could Kyle, ever the opportunist, see this chaos as a chance to solidify his own position within Jabot? With Billy completely distracted and emotionally decimated, Kyle could make a power play, arguing that Billy's personal turmoil makes him a liability to the company. Victor's plan could inadvertently strengthen Kyle's hand, creating another layer of conflict for the Abbotts. A legacy of pain. Is there any coming back? The most haunting question this storyline raises is about the long-term damage. Even if Billy eventually clears his name, even if he exposes Victor's manipulation, the scars on Katie and Johnny will be deep and permanent. They have already lost their parents. Now they're being manipulated into rejecting the one man who fought to give them a new family. The trust they lose now may be impossible to ever fully regain. Victor Newman has spent a lifetime building a legacy. He wanted to be remembered as a king, an empire builder, a patriarch. But with this move, he risks being remembered by his own grandchildren as the monster who stole their last chance at happiness. He is sowing seeds of bitterness that could one day grow into a forest of hatred directed at the very name he sought to elevate. The coming weeks in Genoa City will be some of the most emotionally brutal we have seen in years. We are witnessing a master villain at the peak of his powers, deploying a strategy so personally devastating it threatens to break not just his enemy, but the very concept of family he claims to hold so dear. Victor Newman has always been willing to cross lines, but as the spoilers for Katie, Johnny, and Billy suggest, he has just erased the line entirely, leaving a chasm of cruelty in its place. Tune in, because the fallout will redefine these families for years to come. The Young and the Restless. Y&R. Spoilers for Wednesday, March 15th. Tease that Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, will strike back at Adam Newman, Mark Grossman. Although Nick appreciates the fact that Adam's trying to be a more responsible adult lately, he'll still want to remind his brother of boundaries. Whether Nick means to or not, he'll hit his brother where it hurts. Nick will offer up some difficult reminder, so it sounds like Adam will suffer with memories of Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, while Nick enjoys their current romance. However, Sally is struggling with some complicated feelings deep down. Although Sally is trying to convince Nick and even herself that her heart isn't torn, Y&R fans can tell she's indeed conflicted about her feelings for Adam. Unfortunately, Adam's bad day will get even worse thanks to Tucker McCall, Trevor St. John. It turns out Adam will make the mistake of mentioning his potential CEO grab at McCall Unlimited, so Tucker will forbid it. If Adam wants to take over the McCall empire, Tucker will insist it'll happen over his dead body. There'll be some bickering between Tucker and Adam at Society's bar, but Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, won't give up on his McCall Unlimited acquisition goal. Of course, Tucker is hoping for good news since he still wants to sell to Devin Hamilton, Brighton James, but it's not a done deal yet. Regardless, Tucker won't want his empire to land in Adam's hands and may go to great lengths to keep him from steering the ship. Even if Tucker does decide to strike a deal with Newman Enterprises, he could potentially do it on the condition that Adam never be allowed to take the McCall Unlimited throne. In the meantime, Y&R fans may see the aftermath of Nate Hastings' Sean Dominic choice. Once Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinle, invites Nate up to her hotel room on Tuesday, will Nate accept the offer and hook up with her on Wednesday's episode? The Young and the Restless, Y&R. Spoilers tease that Michael Graziadei is returning to Y&R as Daniel Romalotti Jr., so Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, son is headed back to GC. Sod confirms that Graziadei will make a comeback this fall, so it sounds like he'll step back into Daniel's shoes and tackle some drama. Of course, Daniel has been mentioned in recent months, like when Summer Newman Abbott, Allison Lanier, used him to calm Phyllis down. Phyllis wound up heading to Savannah and spending some time with Daniel soon after. Phyllis indeed enjoyed her trip there, but now it's Daniel's turn to make the trip back to Genoa City. Will Daniel realize his mom could use some support back home? Whatever the case, Daniel will catch up with some familiar faces and perhaps get caught up in a family mess. It'll be interesting to see what's in store for Daniel once he's back in the mix. Michael Graziadei portrayed Daniel Romalotti Jr. from 2004 to 2013 before reprising the role briefly in 2016, so he's long overdue for a stint on Y&R. There's no word yet on how long Graziadei will be sticking around, but his return could certainly shake things up. Daniel may come home to chaos and have to handle Phyllis's unruly side along with Summer. There's the potential for Daniel and Summer to clash regarding Phyllis after all the Marchetti mayhem blows up. As for Graziadei, he's been busy since we last saw him on the CBS soap. Graziadei has been featured on True Detective, 911, The Magicians, The Rookie, and most recently had a role on Netflix's The Lincoln Lawyer. There have been some big developments in Graziadei's personal life as well, including the family edition of twins Oliver and Arlo back in August 2021. Are you excited to see Michael Graziadei return? What do you want to see happen once Daniel Romalotti Jr. makes a comeback? The Young and the Restless spoilers say some other casting shockers and shakeups are still to come, so stay tuned. Whatever the case, Victor is set to make a stunning discovery, so we'll see if he gets updates on Sally's baby, Victoria's steamy night with Nate, or something else. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor will have a lot on his mind soon enough, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless, Y&R. Spoilers tease that Audra Charles will hit Genoa City on a powerful mission, so let's talk about Zuleika Silver joining the Y&R cast in this new role. Viewers might recognize Silver from her work on shows like 911, Young Sheldon, Hawaii 5-0, Code Black, The Mentalist, and more. Silver has been featured in a variety of guest spots and has made late-night comedy appearances on Jimmy Kimmel Live as well as The Late Late Show with James Corden. As for Silver's soap experience, she played a model on The Bold and The Beautiful back in 2013. Now that Zuleika Silver is headed to Y&R, we should consider how she'll fit into the story. Audra Charles is a successful executive, so she'll be summoned by someone who's a big deal in the Genoa City business world. There's been some talk about Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, needing a mentor at Chancellor Winters, so it's possible she could be brought in with that goal in mind. However, there's a chance Audra will have another purpose as Chancellor Winters looks to the future. Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, or perhaps Devin Hamilton, Brighton James, could be behind summoning Audra to town. On the other hand, someone like Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, or Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, could recruit Audra for some Jabot business instead. Newman Enterprises is another thriving business powerhouse, so Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinle, or another Newman could even be behind Audra's arrival. No matter which corporate icon pushes Audra to hit GC, she'll indeed arrive on a powerful mission. You can expect Zuleika Silver to make her debut as Audra Charles on September 23rd, so that's something to look forward to. It sounds like the corporate arena will take center stage for a while as the business drama heats up in Genoa City. It'll be fun to see who Audra will interact with and why. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra could be part of an interesting power play, so don't miss what's looming. The Young and the Restless. YNR. Spoilers tease that Robert Newman will make an explosive debut as Ashlyn Locke. This recast's first scenes have been revealed, so let's talk about those and how Ashlyn's secret is about to blow up. YNR fans have probably heard by now that Richard Burgi was fired for breaking COVID-19 related protocol. On Instagram, Burgi explained what he claimed was an inadvertent blunder and seemed remorseful, but rules are rules, and that means a new actor had to take over. Fortunately, Robert Newman was willing to step up for the next phase of Ashlyn's story. That's fantastic news since we're really getting to the good stuff now. It's kind of a bummer Burgi won't be part of the upcoming big reveal, but at least Newman will have some exciting scenes right off the bat. You can first catch Newman in the role starting Wednesday, February 9th, which is when Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, will corner Ashland and leave him with nowhere left to turn. Ashland will face questions that he struggles to answer regarding his treatment in Peru. Victor should put Ashland on the hot seat over the clinic he's funding through a shell company and the hush-hush nature of it all. Of course, Michael Baldwin, Christian LeBlanc, may find zero evidence that Ashland was ever seriously ill on his fact-finding trip to South America. Victor may confront Ashland over never being sick in the first place and push him to confess to Victoria Newman-Locke, Amelia Heinle, or else Victor will do it for him. We'll also see some lovey-dovey scenes between Newman's version of Ashland and Victoria, but their bubble is about to burst. Following Victor's pressure on February 9th, Ashland will have a major admission to make on February 11th. Once Ashland confesses the secret he's been keeping regarding his apparently bogus illness, Victoria's world will come crumbling down. Victoria will realize Ashland used her as a power play, though Ashland may insist he wound up finding real love in the end. Ashland will likely make a desperate plea for forgiveness and a continued future as a couple, but can Victoria get past yet another round of deception? The Young and the Restless spoilers say Ashland has dug a deep hole for himself, so stay tuned to see if he can climb out of it. And don't forget to catch Robert Newman in the role starting February 9th.